Hello, I'm Lee and I'm working at Wessex Archaeology and the Lost and Found project. Funded by Historic England, Lost and Found sees us working with community groups across Wiltshire, the Midlands and Sheffield. And we're asking those groups to choose two objects from our archive that we're going to put into an interactive digital museum. This is a museum created by people, for people. So usually we deliver the project just like this, from the safety of our own homes, each of us digitally connected. But this time, we've managed to get into the finds room here in our Salisbury office to do some filming. In a minute, we're going to cut across to Phil and he's going to show you 4 objects. From these 4 objects, you get to choose 2. So listen carefully, choose wisely, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Thank you.
So, welcome to Lost and Found, the project where you select 2 items for the museum from the 4 that I've got laid out in front of me. Now, these 4 are really special to me. They're from a site that I did at Bulford on Salisbury Plain several years ago. And they all try and pick out different elements of life as it was in the late Neolithic. Now we know the late Neolithic we're talking about now is about 2950 BC. This is the point at which Stonehenge was just being marked out. The people who handled these objects may actually have been some of the ground workers who cut the turf and dug the ditch around Stonehenge. They may have visited there. Some of them may even be buried there. So, what have we got? Well, the first object is actually 2 objects, but is part of a polished flint axe. Now, why have I selected this? Well, first of all, it's a rather large object. It's a much larger axe than any one we would have found at Bulford when we were digging there. And it's my suspicion that this flint was probably extracted and made into an axe several miles away from Bulford. It may even have come up from as far away as Sussex. Now, the thing that I like about it, it's good quality raw material, and it's had a fairly torrid life. It was used, I can show you that. It's broken, the blade is snapped off here. Now, I've got a bit of personal experience of this. I've made axes like this, I've chopped down trees with them, and I've broken them. It is a gut-wrenching event when you break an axe like that. What's happened here is that the axe has snapped away, the whole blade section has snapped away and has punched a hole through the side of the axe, and then it snapped off at the haft. So there are things that we can learn from this axe. We know that the handle would have been there, and you can bet your life on it. This was a prized object. There's a lot of work goes into making one of these. It is absolutely disastrous when you break it. So that's item number 1. Item number 2. It's got to be flint again, hasn't it, eh? You don't expect me to produce anything else. You know what I'm like with a piece of flint. Now, this is a cracker. I've never found one of these before in my life. It's what we call a discoidal knife. It's a round piece of flint. Now, as a flint knapper, I value craftsmanship. And believe you me, this is craftsmanship of the highest quality. It takes a lot of skill to be able to remove a series of regular flakes all the way from a piece of flint, and then with one single blow to detach this beautiful blank. The thing I love about it is the economy of effort. As soon as that piece of flint pinged off, the knife was effectively made. Just had a little bit of trimming around the edge, very, very delicate, and then beautifully polished all the way around the edge like that. A gorgeous, gorgeous object, one to be proud of. They put it back into the pit Actually, it was standing upright when I found it, and touching it was a piece of antler. Yep, got a radiocarbon date for that as well, 2950 BC, there or thereabouts. So we've got a precise date when this object was made and when it was being used. Who would want to throw away a beautiful piece like that? There must be some symbolism in what they're doing in throwing these beautiful objects away. Now, the other thing which we found there was masses and masses of pottery. This is just one large piece. Oh, it's a dream piece of potting. Look how thin those walls are. Remember, this pot is made by hand. It was beautifully drawn up and smoothed off. And then the potter put in a lovely little piece of decoration across the rim, and then attached these bits of clay here, which they've tried to mimic cord, which has been pinched together by these beautiful little knots. Now, at the moment in my hand is just a fragment. It can stay a fragment. It can stay a fragment in your museum if you select it. But it can also be reconstructed by computer graphics to make it appear what it would once have been when it was made. Believe you me, this is a beautiful piece of pottery. It's part of the biggest group of pottery of that date yet found in southern England. And what is so wonderful about it, we know where the stimuli come from Orkney. These trends were moving down and influencing the people in Wiltshire to mimic the pots that they were making in Orkney. And the final object, well, it's an object which is great and very, very familiar to me as a field worker, as a field archaeologist. One of my tools that I love more than anything else is a pick and shovel. This is a Neolithic pick. This is the sort of object that they would have used to dig the ditch around Stonehenge, the pits that they would have put their rubbish in, the ditches around their burial mounds. For thousands and thousands of years before the metal objects came in, people were using deer antlers to excavate the chalk. As somebody who loves tools as much as I do, this connects me with my ancestors in the Neolithic. And so, to you, it might just be a deer antler. To me, it's more than that. It's a tool to be loved and respected. It's a link with my ancestors. It's an object which is worthy of inclusion in any museum. But there again, so is this beautiful piece of pot. And can you really afford to miss this discoidal knife or exclude the axe? So, what a decision. 2 objects from 4. And it's your responsibility to get it right.